How you doing all? Great to
Fine,
see
thank
us.
you.
This is the first show, and this is the debut of the Discovering. My name is James Diboe. I'm your host for today, and two special guests in, both vegans, Abraham Ojapa
Yeah, that's me.
and Asher Thomas.
That's me. Thank you for having me.
Welcome anyway. And today we're going to be discussing on the topic of you both being vegans and why you're vegans and the history on vegans. So if I can first touch on, you want to go first?
Yeah.
On the history of vegans?
Yeah, I think when we look at the history of vegans, I think it's better to look at where the history of meat eating come from, and I think we can say for sure that veganism is a lot older than meat eating, which a lot of eaters try and say it's not, but we see that meat eating only becomes a thing when plants are scarce, when there's no crops growing. So they have to, it's survivalist mentalities that bring in the whole meat eating culture.
Yeah.
That's why we see colder regions. We see animals tend to be more meat eaters in colder regions, like polar bears and stuff like that. So veganism, as of what it's called, veganism. I think in the 1940s, we were saying that in the 1940s that's when it come in, but I think it used to be called vegetarianism.
Right.
And then there was strict vegetarianism.
Yeah.
Because I know we're going to talk about it later on.
Yeah.
Malcolm X, he was a vegetarian, a strict vegetarian. The Nation of Islam, they vegetarians, but
interesting.
You could call them vegans.
Ancient India as well.
Yeah.
As far back as like Hinduism, which is like one of the oldest religions.
Yeah.
They're like, they're all big into like veganism as well. So
yeah,
not really sure we can put a date on it, but I feel, as you were saying, like all the civilizations, like back where, where like plant eaters and stuff, and as Abraham said, as plants become scarce in certain parts of the world, they endeavored into meat eating.
Yeah.
So
fish and stuff like that.
Okay. How long have you both been vegans? Asher, how long have you been a vegan for?
Just over 3 years now.
3 years. Now, what made you become vegan?
When I discovered like all the things to do with like Dr. Zebby and stuff.
Dr. Zebby?
Yeah, man.
Excellent, man.
That just like changed my whole view on food and everything like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Like food can heal us and all that stuff. So that just had me drawn in straight away, and I was like, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, so the same for you as well.
Same with Dr. Saber, that really, because obviously we've been told for ages that you need meat to survive, and that was my mindset. Like, you need meat every day to survive. Like, that's what I thought. So it was eggs for breakfast, there was chicken throughout the day, all of that. And
that's it.
When I seen, you don't actually need meat, and Dr. Sabi's saying, actually, you can cure any disease you have with living an alkaline, plant-based lifestyle. It was like, it's just light bulb moments, and then it was more so once I discovered it, I don't know if it was the same for you, it was like trying to convince myself that he's wrong, but like and he's saying
was right, and was just touching base, and it just felt natural for me.
Definitely.
You know me, James, I was always like big into fitness, the gym, so it was just like I had this mad like mindset of like protein.
Okay, yeah.
And that's the very stuff that's like killing you, man. Do you know what I mean?
You make these shakes I always see on the Instagram. By the way, do you just want to give your site, your Instagrams or your Facebooks, Asher?
Okay.
You want to start?
I'm V3gan Electrik.
V3gan Electrik.
Yeah.
Do you want to spell that or Jin?
It's V3gan Electrik.
V3gan Electrik. Okay. Okay. V3gan Electrik on Instagram or
on Instagram.
On Instagram.
So on Instagram it's V3. So where the E is in vegan, it's a 3 on Instagram.
Yeah. Okay. Abraham.
And then I'm Yamm.
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 Yeah.
And that's come from like an appreciation for yam, being one of the oldest crops, which we can get into. But yeah, I'm on Instagram, Facebook as well, and also Yamm of Knowledge, where I'll be putting out information on the misinformation.
I've seen a lot of your posts, and also on Facebook, you put some brilliant stuff on there. You know, like
I've been trying, because you know what, like I feel like it's time to kind of step out of the ignorance and stop eating the lies that we've been told for years and years. And I think food is the biggest factor when it comes to it. Having a healthy mind, having the ability to get up early go to sleep, rest fully.
Discipline.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Food plays a massive part in it, like brain health. Like
it's the first element, I think, as well, in it.
Definitely.
You know, it's what you put into yourself reflects on how you are.
So some of these shakes I've seen, making these juices. Do you want to explain some of these? Because like, I've seen both of you like, use a team on that. Like, so one of you wants to elaborate on it.
With the shakes I do, I call them health shakes.
Health shakes.
And with that, I try and put all different elements of health in. So we've got dates for the sweetness. We've got hemp seeds. We've got a type of millet called fonio, which is, millet's been used for at least 10,000 years. But a lot of people don't eat millet. And with millet, we've got things like fonio, we've got quinoa, amaranth, and these are all ancient things that we've been eating for ages, but somehow as the years went by, we got lost in it, and I think we went for the food that we've been given. And I think one interesting thing that I was thinking about earlier was like we went from being an agriculture society to be like an agri-culture, so you just agreeing to everything. So take this from that, man, like you just agreeing, okay,
excellent points.
With this, we eat like this, okay, we'll take that. Black people are like this, we'll take that. And I think we got lost in the source, and I think
definitely dictated to what you're growing as well.
Definitely.
So like Monsanto, like in the main.
So a point I'd probably add on to that is one time I was on Chase with Show, and I was explaining that nature, people were more with nature back in the day. Now it's like in this day and age now, people are not responding to nature properly. You know, it's nothing deep. It's it's with earth people.
That's it.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So everything you're eating comes straight from the earth, naturals. You know, and used to be great people if I was ever going on a trip again, visiting indigenous tribes, whether in Asia or Africa or Australia or the Pacific, anywhere.
Definitely.
You would definitely be two people I would recommend.
Because what links us, I think, is the appreciation for a natural lifestyle. Rather than just following a trend and like,
that's it.
Veganism, it's cool, it's this, it's more so just going back to nature, how we were before. Like you say, the indigenous tribes, they've got a lot to teach us.
Oh my God.
And going back to what Asher was saying about Dr. Sebi, that was his whole message. Like, he called it Afro Biomineral Balance, going back to the way nature intended. He grew up like in the forest, so he was like Honduras, so he really grew up around that, moved to America, and was living bad for a while, and I think that's the main thing. Like, a lot of us, like, no one's born into the lifestyle of natural living.
That's true.
Unless you're
one
of them tribes.
Yeah.
So we've all got learning to do. We've all got like things that, like, misinformation that we need to kind of get rid of, and then learn.
Sometimes I would wonder to myself, could I live with these tribes?
Okay.
I'll ask myself on that, because it looks tough, but at the same time, it's getting used to things and being adaptable.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, appreciating those things.
Yeah.
You know, rather than just be a trend to visit them. But some people, when I've been on I've done different kind of trips. Some have been tours, but there've been ones where I've just took myself there.
Right.
And they're two completely different tours.
Yeah.
You spend as much time as you want there. It's not like a guide. And also, sometimes I've found people torment, giving false information about stuff.
Right.
So that's why it's all about doing your own research.
For sure.
And making up your own mind on stuff. Because when we then dealing with the Orange Ashley tribe in Malaysia, I ended up taking over the tour and speaking to all the Europeans and the Australians, because didn't have as much information on it. But I shouldn't have to do that. I just want getting paid to do it.
Exactly.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? But another one, important one. Since you haven't ate meat, how do you feel in yourself, your body?
I feel better, man.
Do you feel completely better?
Yeah, I feel a lot better in the head, mental clarity, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything. That's interesting. That
everything. But don't forget, I was eating it like 5 times a day, following like bodybuilder regime.
Oh, okay. Yeah, was you mixing it up when you say bodybuilder? Was you using them protein shakes?
All that stuff, the protein shakes, the meals.
Is that natural, the protein shakes, though?
No, it's not, is it? It's all like chemical based stuff.
So
my dad told me about all this years ago.
Yeah. So isn't he nothing else you could
like,
have you switched it?
Blind ignorance, wasn't it? Pardon?
So you don't use that no more than more natural with
I
it.
just get things like, quinoa's full of it, chickpeas, iron, protein. But like all my mindset's kind of changed now. So where I was always like big on like protein, like I'm not big on that stuff no more.
Okay.
So it's all about now what foods are full of minerals, how that's like good for me.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is like more the trend now for me than like protein and blowing up and muscles and all that type of thing. So it's all like a total complete different mindset for me now.
All right. Now I wanted to talk about the business side of what you're doing. So do you both have a business? Is that right? Start with you, Yamm.
Yeah. So
Abraham.
So with the Yamm tree, it is a business, so it's African food, and there's been a lot of misconception about African food, or it's unhealthy, and I think a lot of people tend to say it and try and move away from it. But real African food is health food. You've got something like palm oil. Like a lot of people like villainize palm oil. Oh, the rainforest, or it's bad for your health. But no, it's a lot of that is misinformation, because when you talk about, and it goes back again like to saying how long have people been vegan for, like we need saturated fats, and a lot of the time people get the saturated fats from animal products, but the best sources of saturated fats are things like palm oil, whole palm family. So you've got coconuts, you've got palm fruits, and you've got the even the acai, which is like people see as a berry, but it's high in essential fatty acids, and that's again you're getting a lot of fat that you need from that, which is essential for brain health, essential for your just clear thoughts and clear actions, like because you need that protection of your neurons throughout your body, your nerve cells, and you need saturated fats, and
avocados is like one of the main ones as well.
Avocados really good as well.
Avocados amazing for you.
Yeah. So the business, how do you do it as a business, Sasha? Or is it more?
I'm trying to go through it.
You want to go?
Okay. Yeah. So I'm just like waiting to get a place and stuff. But the way everything is at the moment, it's all.
You seem to have got all your stuff in order though.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
We're building, and that's it. I think because there isn't really anyone in Liverpool that we've seen that are doing it like.
Not like you, no.
So it's like more pushing out the information. It's more testing out the recipes. And trying to keep everything alkaline.
Okay.
Asher's got his line like.
So Yamm focuses on on the African element, and me, I just want to like focus on like kind of like all world cuisines. Yeah. So people that are gonna like transition over, I don't want them to feel like they can only have like this type of food. So I like I love to experiment with all types of dishes. Italian, all different variations, Chinese, Japanese. Like take it as wide as we can take it. Yeah. With it.
I mean, for me to stop eating meat, I think, I do love me lamb and rice, chicken,
but once you like stop, then
that's it. It's making that sacrifice for your own health. For your own health, isn't it? Like you say.
I think you just see the benefits straight away.
And it's cruel. Cruelty to animals.
Yeah, I mean that whole thing, and I think that's that is a spiritual aspect of it.
Yeah.
Like I think the whole. If we're all God's creatures, then
that's
why are we? And it goes back to what you were saying about Indians, about like they held the animals sacred, and that was the main reason why they wasn't into this animal eating. And over time, it's got distorted. But it was that whole, and even going back to ancient Egypt or Kemet, the pictures on the walls, like the animals, like really revered them. So we can see that. They wouldn't be, because they try and say lies and say, they ate animals and they used they found them in the thing, and it goes back to palm oil, because the palmitic acid, that's what we found in animal fat, and when they've tested for palmitic acid, after the time they'll be thinking, that must mean that they ate animals, but really they were eating the healthy fats. And this goes back again to palm trees like all across the world, like indigenous tribes where you find palm trees are across the equator.
Well, I've seen a lot of them. Where there's palm oil as well, they always seem to, their governments always seem to try and take them spots and stuff. You know, even like in...
It's big money in it, that's why.
You know, there's parts, even like parts of some of these Southeast Asian places, and the basically, you might have people from one tribe, and you got people from another tribe, but sometimes they'll marry into each other. Now, what they've done is because they're interfering with where the resources are, these people can't meet, and there's only the secluded people, so there's not a whole lot of people. So they don't have to only just mix in their own little tribe. They might mix with another tribe that is just looks like them, but they just have, you know what tribes is like. Okay. I'm a your tribe, Nigeria. What's your tribe? I know you're Nigerian.
Yeah. So my dad's Iberia tribe.
Iberia tribe, okay.
And that's like in the middle belt.
In the middle.
A lot of people try to say like the northern, but they're actually in the middle. Like
okay.
They live amongst the houses.
Yeah.
But like in order to pass through to Abuja from Lagos, you have to go through my dad's town, basically.
Right, okay.
And what I found interesting about them, they live near like the confluence of the river as well. But what I found interesting is that they've got a massive yam harvest culture. Amazing. And I think this is what I found when I was researching, that a lot of these tribes around the world and around the equator, they had a massive yam harvest culture, meaning that there was a whole calendar related to when the yam harvest comes in.
Wow.
There was whole rituals, ceremonies, music, ancestor worship associated with this yam. And I done a talk at the start of the year associated with yam, and what's interesting is the yam harvest is the same amount of time. Certain yams are shorter, but same amount of time as it takes for the baby to be born, which is like 9 months. So
right.
There's a whole spiritual aspect. And also yam being like the deepest, and it plays again with that whole finding our roots and going back to our original culture. Yam is like, it grows so far underground. Wow. And this is why they say, oh yeah,
these are the wild ones though, what he's talking about. That's when I first met him. Abe on this talk.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. And it was that appreciation of knowledge that both of us seen in each other, and I think that was it. And even like, we were in a place, a vegan place, and obviously a lot of these vegan places are they're good for the movements, but what we're trying to bring is back to alkaline
nature.
Nature.
Natural plants that were put there without man's.
I support you 100% on nature.
Yeah.
You know, as part you were saying before about the ancestor worship, I've came across this with nearly all tribes.
Yeah.
And I always like to look at what's similar with tribes and what's different.
Yeah.
We can all see what's different. Everyone has their own different things, but it's like even when I went to see the Maasai tribes.
Okay.
And they were using cow's blood.
Okay.
With the milk, so you can preserve it for like at least 8 days.
Okay.
And I thought that was interesting. Now, me, I didn't want to try it.
Yeah.
Supposedly, also it helps with hangovers.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, but you shouldn't be having a hangover these days, is it? You know, that's a modern thing introduced, isn't it?
But it'd be interesting to also see what them cows are eating.
Well,
that will be interesting because I think that's the main thing. Like them cows might be eating the nicest grass and the like really mineral rich in herbs rather than the cows that we have all the milk that's here, which is fed on corn.
Yeah.
GMO corn, even GMO soy, GMO.
Because some people try to say, well, that's like drinking blood, and blood's in the people in the ancient world. If they drunk blood, it wasn't a good thing. But like you just said, it could be what the cow's being eating and stuff, and that makes a difference.
That's it. And I think one thing which is important to note about a lot of these tribes that because I think a lot of them have adapted, but I think what we used to use cows for, I mean, before there was mechanical cars and stuff, like cows were the main force
Buffalo was the main force to plough the land.
Yeah, to move things across as well. Like we had horses to go quick, but if we wanted to carry heavy loads, cows were being used. So I think we always had that relationship with cows, but somehow the relationship's twisted now to where McDonald's. Do you know what I mean? Like, just like
but they crossbred them out from buffaloes, though, you know. So it was originally like the buffalo, the bison. These are all the original things, and they crossbred them out into cows.
Interesting. Now,
so a guy called Gregor Mendel, you can check him out.
Okay.
Not too fair. He was a Czechoslovakian monk living in England. So he first started with the crossbreeding of livestock.
Okay.
So boars into pigs.
Yeah.
Buffalo into cow, and then all your legumes as well. So chickpeas are only original legume, and then you got like all your peas, your kidney beans, all that stuff. They're all not original. They're all man-made. Yeah. So that's the thing with the veganism. Like, we went over it, but we didn't like really stop on the topic. I know we can catch something good here. Yeah. So like, what you've got to be careful of is, like we're saying, like all just the vegan places, they're all selling veg and stuff, but it's not natural to Mother Earth. At some point, it was cross-tampered with by a human.
Yeah. And so that means that we can't assimilate the minerals the same way we can the natural herbs, and even chickpeas.
It doesn't carry any minerals, though. Do you see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So you're getting like fruits that don't have seeds in it.
So you get some people, they'll go into McDonald's and buy a veggie burger, That's not being healthy, is it?
No, definitely not.
You know, some people think, well, I'm eating a veggie burger, but it's still not healthy, is it?
You know, it goes deep. So you got like the wheat grain, that's hybridized wheat grain. It's not natural to Mother Earth. So like, there's the first thing. So that's in the bread. Yeah. And then you look to what's in the veggie burger, then the oil that it's fried in. So it's a whole process of like, you know, when you're going down.
Therefore, and we'll look back in history and we'll see, they ate wheat, like the Egyptians ate wheat, but it wasn't the hybridized version.
Oh, okay.
Like kamut, or it was like spelt, or it was all these, you know, what Mother Earth had grew, and then their answer to it now is like, it's more cost effective to grow it the hybrid way because there's a bigger audience to feed, which I just feels like crap.
And then that taps in with the pharmaceutical industry, because they're so linked, it means that if you're giving food to the population that's going to leave them nutritionally deficient, then there's your customers for the tablets and the medications that you've got to give them now, because they're nutritionally deficient. Because if you stay nutritionally deficient, you're going to develop disease, you're going to develop diabetes, you're going to develop heart disease, all these problems,
IBS, all these problems, allergies
come from chronic deficiency, chronic mineral deficiency. But they won't tell us that. They'll tell us, it's hereditary, it runs in the family. But no, if my mother's deficient in a mineral, I'm automatically deficient in a mineral. And if I don't fix that mineral deficiency, my children are going to be deficient in that mineral also.
Okay, interesting.
So I think that's the whole hereditary side of things. And obviously that can affect then brain size and brain development, all of that stuff. And again, that'll make us more willing to accept what's been fed to us, rather than be like, you know what, let me go back the way.
Let me change that.
Yeah. Well, let me, like you've just said, what's been fed to us. The importance of African history, that's another reason why what I was doing originally on the podcast, I was talking about world travels and stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Now, you can see the importance yourself. So I want to know both your views just before we go.
Yeah.
What is your views of the importance of African history, and why should it be taught?
So I think, you know, I think because African history is, I think we've said before, like world history, but it's also, we've been written out of history.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
And the colonizers have been written into history, so we've took our place in history. Because if you look at all these like strawberries, like that's seen as strawberry scones, that's seen as such a British food, but like it was brought in. A lot of these fruits that are considered British fruits, berries, all these type of berries, like they've been brought in through agriculture, through our people, bringing the knowledge, bringing the fruits with them, and trying to teach the people, the spices. Stuff. Because again, like I think even when we touch on African history, like
there's too much misconception around that.
And
definitely.
I think naturally we are herbalists. Like by nature, African people are herbalists, because if you what's the one stereotype about black people? Seasoning. So I mean,
Oh,
seasoning on the food. That is herbalism. That we just don't call it what it is. It's applying herbs onto the food, and usually these herbs, you've got things like thyme, rosemary, parsley. These are all high iron. These are all high mineral rich foods, and that's what we've been doing from early. We're just still doing it, but we're calling it a different name. So for me, African history is getting back to our true selves.
That's it. Yeah. Asha?
I think Abe touched on it there.
Yeah. I mean, you see the importance on it basically.
Yeah, of course.
And the stereotypes.
Yeah,
and
all that stuff.
We do need to learn people because, but I'm gonna give an example now. If we don't know our history, then we can't teach other people it. So
correct.
Whatever's fed to them, if we can't teach them, then someone else will.
Yeah.
And then when someone else teaches them, it gets distorted, as we know.
That's it, and it goes again like we get called with this and with that, and black people are drug dealers, like
stereotypes
and realistically, like we were drug dealers, like we were herbalists again, like we used the herbs and potions
That's a good point.
to treat diseases or mental deficiency or whatever. We've been doing that, but we've fallen into the stereotypes of what we've been given rather than our true nature. And I think that rounds up African history for me, like stepping into our true power. Do you know what I mean?
No, that's it, because it's just been so important. That's why I've Chase has had me on a few times on Big Condo Radio, and it's about making that impact because it's passion. Since a kid, I got told from young Africa how important it is. What I got taught in that. So that's it. So it was that influence from young, and I have children myself. This is what I'm passing down. Pass down the knowledge and be traditional people.
That's it.
And there's no shame to being traditional. You don't have to fit in, adapt because we're in a westernized society. We don't need to do that. We're unapologetically teaching our people, and we're not only just teaching our people, we're trying to teach the world.
That's it. And I think we're liberating ourselves through doing that as well, and I think that's important because I think a lot of the youth won't want to hear it because it's like, what's in it for me? And I think when we become the middlemen between naturally being of African descent here in Europe, when we become the middlemen, right now there is so many middlemen that have no connection to Africa that are profiting and selling what we found in Africa, selling it back to us and being that middleman. Like we're supposed to bring the knowledge from back home and bring it to the next generation rather than, like you say, relying on other people to do it for us. Do you know what I mean? And
I mean, we need workshops set up, but unfortunately, me and Patrick Graham, we're actually going to set up a workshop. We're going to have every week teach Black history, but obviously the lockdown came, and we also were planning to bring Renault Rashidi back, but we couldn't do that. You were at the first Renault Rashidi event.
Powerful events. And that's when I've that's when I met you. And
first time I actually met you, wasn't it? But I clicked with you though.
No, fully. It was that respect. It was that respect. I was like, that's a powerful thing. Bringing someone like Renault Rashidi to Liverpool, such an amazing historian, and I think more of that is definitely
because the reason why it was easy to happen is I didn't wait for funding. I just paid for it myself. And because I've listened to him for many years, and I felt it's really important that people, and also Renault Rashidi's influenced me. At one time, I didn't know there was black people in Asia, and I found that through him. Because I was traveling anyway, visiting tribes, and then it was just I was meant to come across him, and soon I'll hopefully be able to Renault Rashidi on a webinar soon in the future. So that, but it's been excellent this show though. This is the debut of the show. And I'm feeling the energy. I've learned a lot myself. Maybe I might even become a vegan soon. But
I think you definitely should try it out.
But I'm gonna research though, because I like to research.
A week,
try a
week. Or do 3 days out of your week.
What about fish?
No, brother.
Okay. No good.
And again, that's the middleman. The fish is the middleman between the seaweed, the natural seaweed. And that's what we advocate for. Sea moss, all of that. yeah, I think you're speaking to the best two brothers to
okay. Well, you know what?
Whenever rich the seaweed, you know.
Yeah. We're gonna wrap it up today anyway.
Yeah.
So we come to the end of the time.
Yeah.
But it's a pleasure having both of you on the discoveries on the Big Condo Radio. And hopefully maybe sometimes in the next session, you know, we can have you back on again. Because this is just the beginning. I'm feeling
elaborate more on the vegetables, man.
So I want to thank Abraham Ojapa and Ashley Thomas. It's a pleasure, and maybe we'll have you on again soon.
Yeah, man.
Thank you very much.
Peace out. Thank you.
Thank you.